Grr, I'm a badger.
Hey everyone, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it is time for us to take a look at another champion build video. We are going to be playing as Malzahar in the middle today. We're playing him as AP, not as AD, because that is just weird, and it kind of works, but long story short, this is consistent and blows up anybody. So, playing as AP Malzahar today in the middle lane. And that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do is talk about his runes, his masteries, his items, abilities, pros and cons to Malzahar, and some of what he can do, and kind of comboing just a little bit. And how I like to play him, which I'll be honest, there's like one kind of weird item in here. And it's a little bit different just in combination of what some people do with Malzahar, but there's really no set in stone way. I've seen 3 constructive ways to be able to play him, and I like this one. It's a little bit different. So we're going to do that. So starting off, we're going to talk about his abilities, because we need to know what we're talking about as the game goes on. So starting off, Summon Voidling is his passive. Now, after casting 4 spells, Malzahar summons an uncontrollable Voidling. Well, controllable in one sense, but not really. It does damage. It's around for 21 seconds. It will grow every 7 seconds, I believe, and do more stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty interesting. This is where AD Malzahar comes into effect, because it does a lot of damage if you build AD. But no, we're not too worried about that. It's kind of a weird passive, to be honest. Probably could be better, but it's just different. So he's got that going for him, at least in being different kit-wise. He's got a weird Voidling. So that's his passive. We'll just leave it at that. At level 1, you're going to put a point into your E ability, which is your Malefic Visions. Malzahar infects his target, dealing magic damage, scales from ability power, over 4 seconds. If the target dies while this is on them, it will jump to another nearby enemy, and he will gain mana if it kills it as well. So that's why you can clear out minion packs and waves and people with your E. It does a lot of damage and it jumps around. You got to be careful to make sure you don't take unnecessary damage from it, which she just did right there for a split second. And it'll get you a million kills, and we're going to talk about the strategy behind that too as the game goes on. And you get mana back, so it helps. So here we're clearing out a wave with it. She's unfortunately going to take damage from it as I silence her, so a lot of damage happens to her. We'll see her jump, and then I see which form she's in, because Malefic Visions is going to stick on the correct target. I just alter quick, and I happen to get a pretty easy kill from an accidental misplay. But that tiny misplay of taking, you know, that silence, I was just trying to clear that line of minions and push the wave hard so she loses more to the tower, because she does a bad job of clearing under turrets. She just happened to take the damage from it, and then she got the vision on her, and then, yeah, that was just really unfortunate for her to take all of that damage, in which it just happened again. So, yeah, she's creating problems by not avoiding Malefic Visions. So play that strength in lane. At level 2, put a point into your Call of the Void. This is what opens 2 portals. It does deal magic damage, scales from ability power. It has a 0.6 second delay, and then when it goes across, if it hits any enemy champions, it will silence them for 3 seconds. It scales up to 3 seconds, that is. It starts at 1.4 and scales upward to 3 seconds. Pretty nice to do. Great silence. Pretty good damage, too, on it, too. And that's what we're going to do there. We'll put a point in that level 2 and max this out second. Then at level 3 or 5, depending on how you like to do things, you're going to put a point to your Null Zone. Your Null Zone creates a zone of negative energy for 5 seconds. It does percentage damage, and yeah, a lot of percentage damage. If people get stuck on it, which you hopefully get them stuck on it, like right here, he's barely on the edge of it. He's taking percentage damage, and then I think he kind of glitched out of it. I think his original stun was on it. Yeah, it's a lot of damage. We'll talk about that more in depth later on too. You're going to max this out last, because the percentage damage also scales from ability power, and late game it'll just do a lot more. We'll max this out last. And then at level 6, put a point into your Nether Grasp. Malzahar grips his target, engulfing them in void energy, suppressing the target. It will stun them pretty much, and disables their summoner spells. It'll deal a lot of magic damage, scales from a lot of ability power. It keeps them locked down for 2.5 seconds. The damage is done in ticks every half second. So if you get like stunned out of it, you don't get all the damage done instantly. And yeah, that's pretty much how that works. Oh, and your Voidling will attack whoever's being Nether Grasped regardless of conditions. So that's who they will go to. Quick little flash ignite, Malefic Visions, pick up a kill. We're going to die, unfortunately, to Nidalee, but we pick up an assist on it from the roam from our top coming down. So that was good roam from our top laner. But yeah, those are your abilities, and we're going to talk more to their strengths in a little bit as we get into some small fights and kind of how you want to combo it all together. Early on in the game, gonna be honest, I built Deathcap. With just the Deathcap and a ring and my runes and masteries, we have 240-something AP. That's a lot. So here's kind of your gist of a combo for the most part. Would have been nice to get those visions down right away during that ultimate, but really you want people to be standing on Null Zone while you are ulting them, because they're taking even more damage standing on top of it, and they're not going to be able to leave it because they can't cleanse out of the ultimate. So Hopefully you obviously lead that all up front with a Call of the Void to silence them right away so they can't either flash or get away from you, which allows you to set up the combination really easily as well. And then obviously try to get that Malefic Visions down. Usually too, depending on how long the fight is and its cooldown, that might come up a second or a few seconds later after they're trying to escape, because it's got a pretty short cooldown on it. And you can also ignite people while you are ulting them. So remember, you can do that. It is a great way to amplify your damage output. Right here, we're going to try to get Nidalee in the same combination. I think she's just barely outside of that circle, but it's okay. My little dude's doing tons of damage, and I already have a lot of damage, as we covered with having a Deathcap. So we built that outright early just so whenever we get into 1v1 situations, you can pretty much melt anybody. So it's really not that difficult. Malzahar does a lot of damage. A lot of people don't, I think, realize that about him anymore. But because he's not played a lot, and there's a few reasons why he's not played, and we'll move that good transition time into pros and cons for Malzahar. So, starting off, very powerful mage, does tons of damage. That's obviously a pro. What else do we want to talk about for pros? People underestimate the Malefic Visions, as I talked about. You gotta be careful, it will kill you. We'll see that happen multiple times this game. It's a big pro if you can use it right, and if your enemy's pretty dumb. So, remember that much. More things. The ultimate cannot be cleansed. That's a big one. It is a great suppress and great on high priority targets. You can be stunned out of it, unfortunately, but you gotta be careful about that. You can kill full HP opponents pretty much regardless. We'll cover that in just a second. Here, wish we had vision in the bush to get them on that, but we're gonna be able to pick up the kill and an assist. So no big deal there. Got that taken care of. You have the, another good one, we kind of covered this. Ability to farm and push the lane. We were taking advantage of that because that's just how he works in lane. It works out great. And then he's not super easy to counterpick. There's just no perfect answer because if you jump on him and he's not silenced, he's just going to lock you down with the ultimate. You're going to take a lot of damage. So his counterpicks, there's some, but I mean, they're just a little bit oddball choices, really. So, because he can just sit back and let his E farm for him if he really wants it to. So he has some outs. We'll put it that way. As for those cons, though, we'll go over those now. The dude has no escape, legitimately. Unless you can land a silence and that's enough for them to not close onto you, you legitimately don't have any escapes. And that is an unfortunate con, which it's really, really important. His passive isn't reliable. We kind of covered that. It's just not perfect, so it's unfortunate. And yeah, that's really one of the bigger ones. He does require a few items, but this is with almost any champion, obviously. He requires a few items to start becoming successful because amplifying your damage really, like his damage on his abilities scale incredibly well with AP, like beyond decent. It's not like, 0.4% of it. It's like 130% of it and like 80% of it. And so very large chunks of AP turn into damage. So that is where building damage on him really does kind of shine and count. So as much as that can be said for anyone, for him it really is important because he actually does have crazy scaling. Yeah, another big one, and this one's from a lot of people saying it, is people whine when you pick Malzahar. I agree. People complain, and I'm one of those people most of the time, but if there's a good one and he knows how to lock down a high-priority target without getting caught out, that's a great combination. So here now this fight, this is the definition of Malefic Visions just killing people. We're going to use it on the really low LeBlanc because she steps up here, so we drop it on her, and now it's going to jump over to Nidalee, and I believe it's going to almost kill Nidalee, but she heals, and so I don't quite get Nidalee. But I did get a double kill with it on Nami. Actually, it was on Nami, and then it jumped to her. So I picked up a double kill without essentially being around, around them too much. And that fight actually went terribly, but, we just happened to pick up a double kill pretty easily with, how it jumps around. People need to be aware of it. You need to separate yourself from either the minions that have it on them or from your teammates. If you're also low and they're low and they're going to die, you'll just keep feeding up a double kill, triple kill, quadra kill with it. It does happen. I've seen pentakills from just that. I've gotten quadra kills with it before. We get a couple that are borderline triple and quadras in this game because of it. So you got to pay attention to the jumping around of the Malefic Visions. So, yeah. God, you got to be careful about that. Seriously is a huge pro. Yeah, so what else? Let's talk about runes and masteries real quick. As for the runes, pretty simple setup. At least it's the stuff I like to take. It's the magic pen marks. It is the health seals, the magic or the AP per level glyphs, and the AP quints. If you want to take the magic resist glyphs, I know some people do that on their mid laners. You can do that too, but I like AP. It just More damage, more fun. As for the items, things have gotten a little bit weird. We did build our boots next. Obviously, we wanted to get those taken care of. And then we built a void staff just to burn straight through people. Very helpful. Now, one of the newer items I've been building on him for fun is, in fact, the Revolver, which we will build into a Will of the Ancients. And the nice things we get from that include the Spell Vamp. Now, Spell Vamp does work on your dot, so as it jumps around, you will get health returned. So as it jumps around in team fights, you'll get a good amount of health back. And if people get stuck in a back zone of the jungle or wherever, and multiple people just walk on null zone over and over, the percentage damage it does late game, resulting in the damage done to champions, actually is quite a bit, and it will give you a decent amount of health back. So it's kind of a fun choice that I like to build. And another reason I like it too is because Will of the Ancients does give you cooldown reduction, and cooldown reduction on Malzahar is also very awesome. It's good on everybody, but it legitimately is great on him. And then next we built a Haunting Guise, which will obviously go towards a Liandrys Torment eventually, which is even more damage when people are suppressed and locked down. Their Lucian legitimately disappears, which is quite nice. Now here we do get greedy, but we get greedy because of Malefic Visions. Nami takes a lot of damage. I see an opening. I'm going to actually flash. We're going to pick up a kill on LeBlanc, and LeBlanc and Nami are standing next to each other. We're going to pick up an easy double kill. And we're actually still picking up tons of health from people walking on things and taking damage. We were below 50 health there. Now we have 300. So, good return from the Revolver, keeping me alive actually in that fight. And we pick up a double kill because of Malefic Visions jumping off of weak, low targets. And that's really what you want it to do in a team fight. That's great if you can come in and kind of clean up with that. It, like I said, will do a surprising amount of damage and catches people out. Here we get more health back from farming up a little bit. Now we have, 600 health. And we're going to get caught out by Lucian, but we react fast, and he does slide out of the null zone. But because he's locked down, we're getting health back, as you can see. And all of a sudden, we're back to fine, and we pick up another kill. So pretty good stuff happening there, and yeah, that's really what we're going for. So we've actually covered pretty much most of the items, and we covered up runes. Now let's talk a little bit about those masteries. It is pretty straightforward on those. We're going to go with the 2190, and that is really what you want. It's the way to go. And then we're finishing off items. And there we actually pretty much have what I'd call your core. If you needed to get the item I just started next, we picked up a Seeker's Arm Guard. If you needed to rush this a little bit earlier to deal with the physical damage or just get Zhonya's very helpful item, which is what we're building. If you wanted to get that a little bit quicker, obviously a great call. So get that sooner if you need to, and obviously skip out on something else. But the items we have a crazy armor pen, good taking damage as well when people are suppressed, so doing even more damage. And this will allow you to honestly delete almost anyone, regardless of their role on the enemy team, if you catch them out. Because if you properly place your null zone, you get your silence on them right away with that Call of the Void, and you get a Malefic Visions on them, and then you follow it up with your Nether Grasp. While they're stuck standing on null zone, you will murder any tank because percentage of max health is a lot. Here we're going to go ahead and delete... I don't even talk. There's a double kill. Here's a triple kill. Killed LeBlanc. The Malefic Visions was in the back, killing 2 of them. It jumped off of Nidalee, and then it jumped to Nami, killed her. Then it jumped to LeBlanc and killed her. And then we killed Lee Sin, and now I'm pentakills running away, but whatever. So, yeah, I didn't even do any work in that fight. I caught one person out and killed him and got a triple kill for it, and then Lee Sin jumped in and he died because he thought his team would come back him up, but they were all dying behind him. But that's how Malzahar works, and that's a build for him. Everything you need to know is in the description, and I'll see all of you guys in the next build video. Fiddlesticks on the enemy team thinks that this is his jungle. Sad mistake for him, it is not. I'm going to focus the blue buff and make sure I can smite it. And now I'm going to hit him into the wall when he comes around it, which he did. And then I told Zed and or bonus content to come up and be like, yo, finish off that kill, bro. Okay, thanks, bye.